9th WNBA Finals. Exciting night here in Las Vegas as the Aces prepare to take on the Phoenix Mercury in the first ever best-of-7 Finals series.
What if I told you the biggest threat to the future of the WNBA isn't a lack of funding, a heated locker room feud, or even a changing media landscape? What if the real concern is one team becoming so powerful that league executives are scrambling behind closed doors trying to figure out what happens next? For years, the WNBA carefully designed its draft system, salary cap structure, and free agency rules with one goal in mind: competitive balance. The league wanted elite talent spread across multiple franchises, giving every market a chance to compete, attract fans, and remain relevant. The entire system was built on the belief that no single team should dominate the spotlight for too long. But the moment Caitlin Clark arrived in Indiana, everything started to change. Now, reports and rumors surrounding a potential power shift are sending shockwaves across women's basketball. With veteran Sophie Cunningham and rising star Lexie Hull becoming key pieces alongside Clark, many believe the Indiana Fever are building something far bigger than a playoff contender. Some see the early stages of a super team that could reshape the entire league. And according to growing speculation, that's exactly what has league officials worried. Because this isn't simply about basketball anymore. It's about influence. It's about leverage. And it's about a level of player empowerment the WNBA may not have fully anticipated. While fans celebrate the possibility of a powerhouse roster, executives are reportedly watching a completely different story unfold. One where the league is slowly losing control of the narrative, and where players suddenly hold more power than ever before. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. The real story lies in how this movement is taking shape behind the scenes. To understand why the situation has become such a major talking point, you first have to understand the enormous impact of the Caitlin Clark effect. When Indiana selected Clark, everyone expected ticket sales to rise. Everyone expected television ratings to improve. But very few people predicted the massive shift she would create among players around the league. Almost overnight, the Indiana Fever transformed from a rebuilding franchise into the most talked-about destination in women's basketball. Players weren't just seeing packed arenas and national headlines. They were seeing opportunity. In a league where salaries have often been limited, the biggest financial rewards frequently come through endorsements, sponsorships, and personal branding opportunities. And right now, no player commands more attention than Caitlin Clark. Being associated with Clark means more national exposure. It means more television appearances. It means increased social media growth, stronger brand recognition, and more opportunities away from the court. For many players, joining that spotlight represents a career-changing opportunity. That reality has completely altered the way athletes view team building. Suddenly, factors that once mattered, location, weather, franchise history, don't carry the same weight. The primary goal is simple: get on the team that's generating the most attention and creating the biggest opportunities. And that's where things become especially interesting. One of the most important pieces of this emerging puzzle has been the rapid development of Lexie Hull. Early in her career, Hull earned a reputation as a reliable and hardworking contributor. She was respected throughout the league, but she wasn't dominating headlines or becoming the focus of national conversations. Then everything started to change. As Indiana's profile exploded, Hull's growth became impossible to ignore. Her confidence increased. Her role expanded. And suddenly, she was becoming a critical part of a team that many believe could shape the next era of the WNBA. With Clark leading the charge and key players continuing to elevate their games, the possibility of a long-term dynasty no longer feels impossible. In fact, it's beginning to look more realistic with every passing season. And that's exactly why so many people around the league are paying attention. That entire narrative changed the moment she was paired with Clark on Indiana's fast-paced roster. The on-court chemistry between them was immediate, undeniable, and incredibly difficult for opposing defenses to handle. Hull instinctively understood how to thrive within the high-speed offensive system that Clark brings to the floor, consistently finding open space and making teams pay whenever they focus too much attention on the rookie sensation. But their connection extended far beyond basketball. Off the court, the two teammates became nearly inseparable, regularly capturing attention across social media with golf outings, viral TikTok moments, and their natural friendship. This wasn't a carefully scripted
jumper for
marketing
Caitlin
campaign
Clark, and in
or a
transition
manufactured
with the
public
feet.
relations strategy. It was an authentic bond that helped humanize the pressure and expectations that come with professional sports. Fans embraced every aspect of their relationship, helping turn Hull into a recognizable name, while proving that playing in Indiana wasn't just a professional opportunity. It was also an environment where players genuinely enjoyed being part of the experience. For years, the WNBA has faced persistent discussions about locker room tensions, veteran rivalries, and difficult team dynamics. Hull and Clark presented a different image altogether. They showcased an environment built on support, chemistry, and shared success while continuing to compete at a high level on the court. That positive atmosphere quickly became a powerful signal to players across the league who were searching for a fresh start and a better situation. But even with the growing chemistry between Clark and Hull, there was still one major issue that Indiana needed to address. As impressive as the offense became, Clark's rookie season exposed a significant weakness. Throughout her first year, she faced intense physical defense, hard fouls, constant pressure, and relentless attention from opposing teams determined to challenge her at every opportunity. While the Fever possessed talent and potential, they often lacked the physical edge needed to respond to that level of intensity. Opponents quickly recognized that Indiana's young roster could be tested physically without facing much resistance. Many fans grew frustrated as Clark repeatedly found herself on the receiving end of tough plays and aggressive defensive tactics. The conversation became impossible to ignore. It became increasingly clear that talent alone wouldn't be enough. The Fever needed more than offensive firepower. They needed toughness. They needed experience. And they needed someone willing to embrace the physical side of the game while helping protect the team's biggest star. The front office understood that championship contenders require balance. They need scorers, playmakers, defenders, and players willing to handle the difficult responsibilities that don't always appear in the box score. Indiana needed someone whose presence alone could change the tone of a game and force opponents to think twice before crossing the line. Then an opportunity emerged from Phoenix. Enter Sophie Cunningham. If Caitlin Clark is the offensive engine and Lexie Hull is the dependable two-way contributor, Cunningham brings something entirely different to the equation. She delivers toughness, confidence, and a fearless competitive edge that few players possess. Having battled through countless high-pressure situations with the Phoenix Mercury, Cunningham developed a reputation for bringing intensity every time she stepped onto the floor. She plays with emotion, energy, and a willingness to stand up for her teammates. More importantly, she brings the kind of veteran presence that young teams often need when expectations begin to rise. For a Fever team looking to take the next step, Cunningham represented exactly the type of addition capable of changing the entire identity of the roster. She has spent years building a reputation as one of the league's fiercest competitors, known for her fiery personality, relentless hustle, and refusal to back down from anyone regardless of circumstance. As speculation surrounding her future continued to grow, rumors began circulating that Cunningham was growing frustrated with the constant changes, rebuilding efforts, and uncertainty surrounding Phoenix, leading many to wonder whether Indiana could become the next chapter of her career. The thought alone was enough to capture the attention of the entire basketball world. Adding Cunningham's perimeter shooting, defensive toughness, and veteran experience to a lineup already featuring Caitlin Clark, Lexie Hull, and Aaliyah Boston would create a group capable of challenging any team in the league. Her impact would extend far beyond the box score. She would bring leadership, intensity, and the kind of physical presence that can completely change the identity of a roster. More importantly, she would provide something Indiana has often lacked: confidence. The type of confidence that comes from knowing a veteran competitor is standing beside you every possession. The type of confidence that allows young stars to play freely without constantly carrying the emotional burden of every challenge alone. Cunningham's arrival would send a message throughout the league that Indiana was no longer simply building for the future. They were preparing to win immediately. That possibility has Fever fans dreaming about a roster that perfectly blends offensive brilliance with defensive toughness. A team capable of playing fast, scoring efficiently, and matching the physical intensity of any opponent they face. But while supporters see opportunity, others see a growing problem. Inside league circles, conversations surrounding a potential Indiana super team have reportedly become impossible to ignore. The WNBA has always emphasized competitive balance, relying on a system designed to distribute talent across multiple franchises and markets.
Mid-range
The goal
jumper
has
for
been
Caitlin
simple:
Clark, and in
keep as
transition
many
with
teams
the feet.
competitive as possible while
Up and
ensuring
down
fans
game
throughout
right
the
here.
country
Nice
remain
behind the
engaged.
back.
Yet the rise of Indiana has created a new reality. As Caitlin Clark's popularity continues to generate unprecedented attention, the Fever have become the center of nearly every major conversation surrounding the league. Television ratings, ticket sales, merchandise demand, and social media engagement consistently follow wherever Clark and the Fever go. That level of attention naturally creates concern among those responsible for maintaining balance across the league. If Indiana continues adding elite talent around its young core, the franchise could become the dominant storyline in women's basketball for years to come. From a business perspective, that creates difficult questions. Networks naturally want the games that attract the largest audiences. Sponsors want visibility. Media outlets focus on the stories generating the most engagement. If one team consistently commands the spotlight, other organizations risk struggling for the same level of attention. That reality has reportedly fueled growing discussions among league executives, who understand both the benefits and challenges that come with having a franchise become larger than life. The concerns extend beyond ratings and television schedules. Across the league, owners and executives have invested heavily in building successful organizations and growing their local fan bases. Many expected the league's recent surge in popularity to create opportunities for every franchise. Instead, much of the attention continues to flow toward Indiana and the players associated with the Fever. As rumors involving high-profile players potentially joining Clark and company began spreading, frustration reportedly started building throughout rival front offices. Questions emerged about whether the current competitive structure can effectively manage the powerful attraction created by a player with Clark's level of influence. Some executives view it as a natural evolution of professional sports. Others view it as a challenge that could reshape the competitive landscape entirely. Either way, one thing has become increasingly clear. The Indiana Fever are no longer simply a promising young team. They have become the center of a league-wide conversation, and every decision involving the franchise now carries implications that stretch far beyond the basketball court.